At Icknield High School in Luton, several former pupils recalled stern discipline from members of staff, including Mrs. McCarroll, who taught cookery, Mrs. Cunningham of the needlework department, and the headmistress, Mrs. Froud. One former pupil remembered both herself and another girl being caned by the headmistress, while another recalled punishments administered by Miss Smith and Mrs. Froud as particularly painful. At Joseph Eastham High School in Manchester, former pupils spoke of a teacher named Miss Holden, who was remembered for her frequent use of the cane. Several former students recalled receiving corporal punishment from her on numerous occasions. Pupils from Joseph Whittaker School in Mansfield described incidents in which entire classes were punished collectively. One former student recalled a class being caned after a fire door was opened and no individual admitted responsibility. The same pupil stated that she was also punished for smoking in a lavatory, despite maintaining that she had not been involved. Another former student remembered Mrs. Johnson, reflecting that although corporal punishment had seemed ineffective at the time, she later came to appreciate the discipline that had been imposed. At Kelvin High School in Belfast, memories centred upon Mrs. Mackay, a science teacher remembered as one of the few female teachers who administered corporal punishment personally. Former pupils recalled that girls who misbehaved were often sent to Mrs. Gallagher for caning and would return to lessons in visible distress. Another former student remembered a feared science teacher whose cane, reinforced with string and tape, was displayed prominently beside the classroom blackboard. At Keresley High School in Coventry, one former pupil recalled not the cane, but a wooden slipper used by Miss Marsden. Another former student confirmed regular memories of the same punishment. At Kings Hill Secondary Modern School in Wednesbury, a former pupil remembered receiving the slipper from a mathematics teacher after repeated talking during lessons. Former pupils from Kingsley Secondary School described Miss Vardy as a strict disciplinarian whose classroom inspired fear among students. One pupil recalled receiving the cane for misconduct, while another remembered corporal punishment after an incident involving vandalism in the bicycle sheds. At Kings Meadow Comprehensive School in Gateshead, a former student recalled receiving the strap after leaving school grounds through a hole in the fence in order to catch a bus home. At Kings Tamerton Secondary School in Plymouth, several pupils remembered differing attitudes among teachers towards discipline. Some recalled teachers who rarely punished girls, while others were remembered for frequent use of the cane. One former pupil described an occasion in which 6 girls were caned at the front of the class for talking during a lesson. At Ladywood Comprehensive School in Birmingham, a former pupil recalled being caned by Mrs. Hayward after becoming involved in a fight. Former pupils from Lawn High School in Northern Ireland remembered Miss Dundee, a physical education teacher, as particularly strict. Another recalled being caned by Mr. Beggs for walking on the grass, while others remembered the use of both a bat and a plimsoll shoe as instruments of punishment. At Levant House in Chichester, one former student remembered receiving the slipper from the school matron. At Lee Park and Gateacre School in Liverpool, a former pupil recalled the deputy headmistress, Mrs. Lloyd, administering the cane. At Lighthall School in Solihull, one former student remembered being slippered by Mrs. Hunt for smoking. Pupils from Limehouse School in Carlisle recalled punishments for smoking behind the girls' dormitories. One former pupil remembered receiving the slipper from Mrs. Rice, while another recalled the use of a training shoe as an instrument of discipline. At Little Mead Grammar School in Chichester, a former student remembered being punished with the slipper for running along a corridor. At LVS Ascot, one former pupil recalled an occasion during a European Studies lesson when an entire class was slippered by a teacher named Mr. Stonelake. Former students of Manor Secondary School in Aldershot remembered the headmistress, Mrs. Hollingdale, as a formidable authority figure who ruled the school with great strictness. One pupil recalled being caned by her on 2 separate occasions. At Mansfield High School in Burnley, a former student who attended between 1957 and 1960 remembered receiving the cane from Miss Lee for smoking.